What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your first stimulus package update and daily news report for 2022. Today is Saturday, January 1st. Hopefully you guys had an incredible New Year's Eve, and you will have an incredible 2022 as well. Here's what we are going to discuss today. I want to explain how the stimulus package will finally pass, what we're hearing, and there's different reports, different sides to this, so just bear with me. I'm also going to give you what Democrats' plan is to actually move forward. I'm going to talk about school closures and more potential delays, and we will address major shortages coming very soon. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But let's get into the update. First, according to the New York Times, the United States now has a new 7-day average of COVID cases, and this is at 384,258 cases. That's the 7-day average. This is actually a 7-day average record, which is not good. That is not what we want to break. Now, the rise in COVID cases has a lot of people extremely worried. We have worries from more of the school level, more local. We have worries amongst businesses and really throughout the workforce as well. We also have a lot of worries on the federal level, especially with lawmakers in Congress. Here's what I can tell you. Democratic lawmakers are actually looking at these cases as a way to improve their chances of getting the Build Back Better Act passed. Now, this may sound, somewhat discouraging, disheartening, but that's what they're looking at. Democratic lawmakers say we need to pass this Build Back Better Act because if we are seeing COVID cases increase and people can't go to work, children can't go to school, they need something. So let's pass the Build Back Better Act so we can get them more affordable childcare, affordable housing, child tax credit payments, right? All these things. So, right now, there's not a lot of options that are left on the table though, and that's what's causing many issues. But here are the different paths that Democrats can take to try to get this bill passed. Here's where we're at, okay? First, Democrats can work with Senator Joe Manchin and pass something smaller, pass something more catered to his liking. And this is going to be very difficult because it's not going to be anywhere close to what was originally negotiated and passed through the House of Representatives. However, some say this is their best bet. The second option is for Democrats to work with Republicans and pass a bipartisan bill. Here's the issue there. Now, this could be really good because there could be things in this bill that would help out both sides. It would help out businesses as well as people, right? It would provide some tax breaks as well as it would also provide a little bit of a tax revenue boost because we will see taxes increase. Chances are for businesses as well. But here's the problem. Working with Republicans will mean the bipartisan bill will be much smaller, much smaller. Most likely in the neighborhood of around $1 trillion. But again, that would include Democratic provisions and Republican provisions. The problem there is Democrats do not want Republican provisions. So this is less likely to happen, but according to reports, this is the next best option. The third option, and the one that honestly I think is the one that is most likely to happen outside of working with Senator Joe Manchin. I think this one is probably second to working with Republicans. That one's probably third. Okay? So in my opinion, what Democrats should be doing, and again, I'm not trying to side with Democrats, I'm not trying to side with Republicans. I'm just telling you, if I were a Democrat, this is what I would do. If I were a Democrat, I would either work with Senator Joe Manchin and pass something immediately to try to win back more seats in the House and the Senate. That would be the first thing. Part two of that would be to wait until after the midterm elections. Wait and hope that Democrats win more seats in the Senate, and then they can pass a bill after that. So in 2023, they can pass a bill and will not need Senator Joe Manchin on board because they would have more than the 50-50 split that they currently have right now. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Now, here's what lawmakers are saying. That's an option. That is an option. They say that we need to pass something immediately. It needs to be something because we have to show something for the upcoming midterm elections, or else we will not win any additional seats. Democrats know that they have to pass something. We do not know what, they don't know what, but they have to pass something. So, be prepared this week because, yes, lawmakers are coming back this week. They'll be back in Washington on January 6th, which is 1 year from the Capitol riots. So, it'll be interesting to see what they come back with and how hard they push to see this actually go through. Let's talk about the second worry. This is the worry that is more on the school level. Schools have. Because right now, children are expected back into school in 2 days. 2 days on January 3rd is when children are supposed to go back to school. Now, here's where a lot of parents are very concerned because they don't know whether or not this is actually going to happen. Because if you read the reports, you read you watch the media, you will see that some schools, and just to give you an idea, here in Seattle, Washington, the Seattle School District is actually postponing the first day back until January 4th. Not the 3rd, the 4th. They're actually going to use the 3rd, January 3rd, which is in 2 days. They're actually going to use that as a voluntary COVID testing day. So it's interesting, but now that's what they're going to have to do. And many schools are probably going to do that as well. Open up the school, you can come in or drive through, get tested, go home, and then the next day, if you test negative, you can come into school. It's going to be an interesting time, but many worry that there's going to be just too much for parents and it's not going to work. We also know experts are saying that cloth masks should no longer be considered because they're not even that effective against Omicron. They also say that a 3-layer surgical mask or an N95 must be worn. So, we'll see if that actually happens, but to issue a statement like, okay, no more cloth masks, but yet come back to school in 2 days, that's going to be very difficult because guess what? The N95s, the surgical masks, are going to sell out very quickly. And if you think you're going to get those from Amazon, you don't live in a big city, it's going to be tough to get a shipment in just 2 days. So we'll see what happens there. We did get a report from the CDC the other day, though. They are saying that they're reporting that hospital admissions for children with COVID has actually increased by 66%. It has gone to 378 cases per day on average. But back in September, this was kind of when we were seeing that surge happen again because, well, children were going back to school. We saw 342 a day on average. But experts say, even though hospitalizations are up, deaths are down compared to September. So that's really good news. Now, experts are actually tasked with this decision, deciding if risking more children and more COVID cases is worth it or not. Right now, many worry that taking children out of in-person learning and going completely remote would actually hurt their chances of learning, but here's a big one, this also puts them into long periods of isolation, and that is what they say is not good for children or even teens. So, and let me ask you, if you have children, do you think in-person learning is essential at this time, or would you rather have the school districts or Department of Education say, you know what, let's go all remote for the next, because according to experts, if we did all remote for the next 2 weeks, it would really cut down on the amount of COVID cases, but in addition to that, we could potentially get over this peak much sooner. and we could almost stop the peak in the next few days, according to experts. But let me know. Do you think it's a good idea to hold children out of in-person learning for the next 2 weeks to a month in order to, kind of dampen this curve, or should we just send our children to school? Let me know. But here's the other thing. Experts also say that they're extremely worried about remote learning because this is a huge disturbance to parents and the workforce. They say going remote would send us backwards, and many people will simply leave their jobs in order to help educate their children. But here's the other issue. If you leave your job, you don't have any additional weeks of unemployment benefits available. Guess what? You have no income. So would the government need to step in and provide some form of additional unemployment assistance like they have done in the past? Would a stimulus check be coming, right? Would this benefit us if we had the child tax credit payments, right? A lot of discussions there. And so this is why I think this timing of Congress coming back is going to be imperative. I think we're going to have a lot of answers over the next probably 2 weeks. But let's also talk about COVID for a second. Experts say that things are actually going to get much worse before they get better. And not really just COVID is going to be more harmful. That's not what they're saying for the individual person. But what they're saying is, and you might already have seen this, but stores are closing early due to the lack of employees. Airlines are canceling flights left and right because of the lack of employees due to some being out because they were exposed or they test positive. Restaurants are closed down, again, because of the lack of employees. And even products not making it to the shelves inside your favorite stores. This is due to the lack of limited transportation and less employees that are actually able to work. That creates major issues. So according to many reports, COVID cases are going to play a major role in the next month. And experts say that you should expect more supply chain issues, worker shortages, and the third one, probably one of the biggest ones, possibly even school closures. That's what we're hearing at this time. To be prepared, because things are not going to get better until after they get worse. So that's what we know at this time. As always, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully you guys had an incredible 2021. I know it was tough. We got through it together, but hopefully 2022 will be the best year yet. So thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.